Okay, so you know how much is out there, right? Trying to figure out what's really going on can be a whole thing.
Yeah, totally.
So we try to cut through that noise, right? Get to the heart of what matters.
Absolutely.
And today, that means looking at something anyone who's ever really pushed themselves gets. That feeling of just how much it takes to stay at the top for a long time.
A long game, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And who better to show us that than LeBron James?
Seriously. Like, the guy's a walking example.
We're going to break down some recent stuff he said about what this 21st NBA season's really been like physically.
Yeah, using an article from Clutch Points.
Right. They pulled some quotes from LeBron being on Steve Nash's podcast, Mind the Game.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, what stood out to us was how honest he was about what it takes to stay elite after 2 decades.
You can't fake that kind of experience.
Nope. So in this deep dive, we really want to understand what LeBron's own words tell us about that grind.
That sustained grind.
Yeah, and what it might mean for his future and the Lakers too. So,
All right, let's set the scene.
yeah, give us the big picture.
Okay, so 21 seasons in the NBA. Like, that's almost unheard of in itself.
It's mind-boggling.
And then you add in that as of like early April 2025, he'd already played 67 games this season.
Wow.
And he's still a huge part of the Lakers pushing for a top seed in the West. It just puts things in perspective.
Total perspective.
Yeah,
He's not just hanging on.
no way. He's still driving the team.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like he's just this veteran presence out there either.
Right.
He's performing at a crazy high level every single night.
Consistently.
But like the Clutch Points article said, even for a guy like LeBron, like he's all those years, those minutes, something's got to give at some point.
Yeah, like even a machine can only run so long.
So what did he actually say about how he's feeling?
Well, he starts off saying, I would say for where I am in my career, the years I've played, the miles I've played, the minutes I've played, the games I've played, I feel great.
Okay.
So at first you're like,
Yeah.
okay, business as usual, LeBron's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like superhuman.
But the article points out this big contrast with what he says next. It's like a peek behind the curtain. You know, it's not about how he feels during the game. It's about the aftermath.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
So he talks about that morning after feeling.
Mm.
And that's where it gets real.
Yeah.
He's like, it's that first step out of bed that will let you know how old your ass is.
Oof, I felt that.
And then he says, those are the moments. And I'm like, LeBron, what the hell? It's usually like on the road, you're like, what the hell are you still doing out here?
Oh, man. That image is so vivid. Like that first step.
Ugh, tell me about it.
I think anyone who's ever had a tough workout or even just a long day can relate to that feeling.
Right,
Like that
yeah.
stiffness. But to have that after pretty much every game for 2 decades,
You got to be a whole other level.
it's like this hidden cost that even feeling great overall can't erase.
Exactly. It's like this cumulative impact.
And the thing that's so interesting to me is this honesty about how his body feels day to day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's refreshing.
He's not trying to pretend he's immune to the wear and tear.
Yeah, like he's not invincible.
And it kind of makes you think about that balance athletes have to find. Pushing their bodies to the limit, but also dealing with the long-term consequences.
You can't ignore those consequences forever.
No.
Um,
And when you think about how long he's been doing this at this intensity, the article really hit on how unprecedented it is.
It's truly remarkable.
21 seasons playing major minutes. You just don't see anyone stay this effective for this long.
It's crazy.
The article said he's averaged over 33 minutes a game every single season of his career.
That's a crazy workload.
It really is, year after year. And get this, he actually led the NBA in minutes per game 3 times.
Oh, wow.
The first time being his sophomore season.
No way.
Yeah, over 42 minutes a night.
That's insane.
Imagine the stress on his body from that early on.
You got to think that takes a toll even all these years later.
It shows you the sheer volume of physical demands he's faced constantly.
There's no escaping that.
So he might say he feels great, but those morning after moments tell a different story.
Mm-hmm.
So how's all this affecting his thinking about the future?
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
What's next for LeBron?
Well, the Clutch Points article starts looking at what this means for the Lakers moving forward.
Okay.
They bring up the idea of maybe trading for Luka Doncic.
Oh, wow. That's a big move.
It'd be huge.
Yeah.
And they frame it as this potential passing of the torch moment.
Whenever LeBron decides to retire,
Yeah.
so the thinking is bringing in another superstar like Doncic would let the Lakers stay competitive even after LeBron's gone.
Makes sense. You got to
Yep.
plan for the future.
The article also mentioned the idea of a big three with Austin Reeves, Doncic, and James.
Now, that would be something.
They suggested that could be a real recipe for a playoff run in the short term.
A super team.
And to be fair, the Lakers did secure a top 6 seed,
Yeah, they did.
so they avoid the play-in tournament and all those extra games.
Less wear and tear.
Exactly. Plus, the article reminded us LeBron hit that 50,000 career points mark.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's still making history.
He is, but it all comes back to how much longer can he keep this up, given how his body's feeling.
Right. Like, what's sustainable?
The article said his decisions at the end of this season are still totally up in the air.
Which is fair enough. He's earned the right to decide on his own terms.
Absolutely. But hearing him talk so openly about the daily grind, it gives us a glimpse into the challenges even the greatest athletes face as their careers go on.
It humanizes them in a way.
It really does. It reminds us that even superhuman talent has to work within the limits of a human body.
We're all human in the end.
And that's where it connects with everyone listening. While most of us aren't playing in the NBA, we all get what it's like to push ourselves physically
We've all been sore.
and to feel how time and effort can affect our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's aches after work, stiffness after a hike, or just realizing we're not as young as we used to be, we can relate to that morning after feeling.
In our own way.
Right. It makes you think about what it takes to be successful for a long time in anything.
Longevity.
Yeah, it's not just about that initial burst of energy or talent. It's about keeping it going,
And handling the wear and tear.
physically and mentally.
Absolutely.
So, like, how do we balance wanting to achieve our goals with knowing our limits?
That's the big question.
LeBron's comments show us how someone at the very top of their game deals with that.
It's a constant balancing act.
It really is.
Yeah.
So the big takeaway from this deep dive into LeBron's comments in the Clutch Points article is this. Even a legendary athlete like him feels the effects of a long and demanding career.
Yeah, those years add up.
His thoughts on those post-game mornings show us that even the most amazing athletic feats have a human side.
They're not robots after all.
And it makes us think bigger, considering what it takes to stay excellent for a long time, what really defines longevity and success.
How much does acknowledging our limits matter?
Right. It's not just about pushing harder. It's about understanding and adapting to what our bodies and minds tell us.
It's about working smarter, not just harder.
It really gives you a new perspective on what goes on behind the scenes.
For sure.
And if you found this, look at an elite athlete's experience interesting. Remember, this all came from Clutch Points.
Great source.
They covered tons of sports news and analysis, so there's a lot more to explore.
Definitely worth checking out.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.